Hello, friends. My name is Samuel Abisinguza. I'm a software engineer by profession, and I'm a musician by passion, and also a John Maxwell coach. Today, I'm so humbled and privileged to be discussing with you law number 6, the law of environment. The law goes that growth thrives in conducive surroundings. Growth thrives in conducive surroundings. I like what they wrote down below the description, that the first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be to be a captive of the environment you first find yourself in. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of environment is where I was born and raised. Now, I don't know about you, but I was raised in a small village in Western Uganda. I usually make a joke that we don't have any network, mobile network or electricity. Now, the truth is, through the developments, that is changing, but when I was growing up, that's how it looked like. No mobile network, nothing like electricity. And keenly, I am reminded of our daily agenda, the things we used to do, waking up in the morning, going to the garden, digging till like late and coming back home. And that was our lifestyle, day in, day out. That is everything I knew. That was my environment. And one of the things I remember so well is every time I would get a chance to pause when we'd be digging, I would look around and all that surrounded us was hills, trees, bushes, and stuff. And I always wondered what is on the other side of the hills. What is on the other side of life? In fact, I used to think that when you climb up the hills, there should be a big chance that you can reach for the sky and touch it. I don't know about you. I'm curious, in your environment growing up, which preconceptions did you have that you found out later that were not true? Now, what changed my environment was a decision and a choice that my dad made when he overheard two men chatting and saying they were taking their children to better schools in town. For some reason that I don't know, my dad was inspired to take us from that environment and take us to town to study from town. Can you imagine just one decision like this changed the entire course of my life? As we discuss this law today, we will learn that change happens, growth happens by choice. Growth happens by choice. And John says here that really it is possible to change without growing, but it is impossible to grow without changing. And really that speaks to me a lot, that it is possible for us to change our environment and not grow, but it is impossible to grow without changing either the environment we are in or the mental environment or our attitude. Sometimes we may not change the environment, but you can sure change our attitude. So for us to be able to change our environment, I believe that there's a need for us to assess the environments we are in, to find out, does this environment support me? Does it help me to grow? Or does it deprive me of the opportunity to grow and expand? And there are some questions we can ask ourselves, because John is saying here that the change just for the sake of change is not going to help us. If we are going to make changes, we must make sure that they're the right ones. We could be in an environment that allows us to grow, but maybe our attitude does not allow us to. Equally, we could be in an environment where we are positive, we are the most excited and enthusiastic, but the environment itself does not give us the opportunity to grow. So today, as we discuss, which questions can we ask to assess our environment? I think one of the questions we can ask is, what kind of friends do I have in this environment? Are they friends that inspire me to be more and to do more? Or are they friends that take from me? They, in fact, it's like they lower my growth, if you know what I mean. Because if we are not growing, we are dying? Are they friends who cause me to keep growing or to come down? Which thoughts do I have in this environment? Is it an environment where I think better thoughts, I think productive thoughts, I think creative thoughts? Or is it an environment where actually thoughts I think are depressing and depriving? What kind of imagination do I usually get when I'm in this environment? Does it allow me to imagine big things? Does it allow me to, or to only think small? For example, if you're in Kampala, there's some environments where if you're going to go out for food, you're only going to think about chapati, Rolex. Now, if you're not from Uganda, you may not know what that is, but as if you're in an environment like Uptown, I don't think you're going to be thinking of Rolex or street food. You might be thinking of going to a great restaurant. So is the environment I'm in allowing me to think great thoughts or depriving me of that opportunity? What about the experiences? Which experiences have I had in this environment? Are they experiences that have grown me or experiences that have like brought me down? And through those questions, we can have a score and say, I think I need to move on to a better environment. I usually ask myself these questions, and maybe you can ask yourself the same. Am I a big fish in a small pond? Meaning to say, am I at high level of growth and everyone else in my environment is not? Is that a great environment to be in? The other question we could ask ourselves is, am I in am I a great fish for, or am I the size of fish for this environment? Or am I comfortable in this environment? It's not good, it's not bad, it's not too good, it's just okay. I would like to say that actually for myself, I've found myself more in such environments where I can't say that it's bad. Neither can I say it is an environment that inspires me to grow tremendously. So which environment are we in? Also, am I a small fish in a big pond? Am I in an environment where people have really accomplished so much? They're big thinkers. They have imagined and created and innovated. And I have so much to learn from. I would like to suggest that the latter is the best, an environment where we are challenged to grow, to expand, to think bigger thoughts. I see here, as we continue with the law, that change has to happen for ourselves and also for our environment. A story goes for a lady who, I don't know which country she came from, but let's assume she was coming from one of those places in the UK. Let's just say it was a cold place. She had moved to another country which was warmer, more fun, and as she was unpacking, a neighbor came and said, "Oh yeah, you're welcome in this neighborhood. Why did you choose to come to stay in this country?" And she said, I really decided to move because the people back home, they were not loving, they were not nice to me, they were not looking out for me. I just wanted an environment where people love me, people care for me. And the neighbor said, "You're welcome. I hope that you will have a wonderful time here." A few weeks later, it is said that the neighbor saw her pack again to leave, and yet she had just been there for a few weeks. And when the neighbor approached and said, "So you've just been here for how? Just like 3, 4, 5 weeks. Why are you going so soon?" She said, "Man, I'm so surprised. It's the same. People are not caring for me. People are not looking out for me." And it is said that when she arrived in the new neighborhood, she never took the initiative to go out to connect with people, to know what's happening in the neighborhood, to introduce herself to others. What she had done, she had changed her environment, but she really never changed herself. And she continued getting the same results. I'm sure she believed that it was the people outside, not herself. So sometimes you can change the environment, But because we have not changed our attitudes and the way we connect with people, still we are going to be limited to grow. I see John Maxwell says here that when you change yourself but not the environment, growth will be slow and difficult. When you change your environment but not yourself, growth will be slow and less difficult. But when you change your environment and yourself, growth will be faster and more successful. I truly believe that is why we need to change our environment, equally change ourselves. Isn't it John Maxwell who says that the only sure way that tomorrow is going to be better is our personal growth? I truly believe that we can benefit from continuously changing ourselves and being in an environment where we have an opportunity to grow. I see the other one to help us in our change and growth is to change who we spend our time with. Now, there's some quotes here that are really, really direct, that when you walk with the wise, you become wise. For a companion of fools suffers harm. I don't want to talk about that. I think we know what that means. But it also says that it's not always comfortable, but it is always profitable to associate with people larger than ourselves. Personally, I've observed that sometimes I'm uncomfortable when I'm with people that are larger than me, that have accomplished more. It is I think it is a natural feeling of feeling uncomfortable, but yet that discomfort is where there's an opportunity for us to grow. So maybe the question we can ask ourselves, am I around people that actually make me uncomfortable to grow? Or am I around people who are so supportive and say, are you good? You've arrived. You are great. In fact, some people give us encouragement that only limits us to stay where we are. But I won't go so much into that. However, they're saying, when we keep company with good men, we increase their number because we are impacted by the thoughts, by the experiences, by the way of life. And what I've found more profound, being an artist, sometimes I've had an opportunity to be backstage with some prominent artists, people who have really accomplished a lot. And I've observed that the more time I spend in their circle, the more I feel like there's nothing special about them, except, I guess, a determined resolve to continue growing and reaching out for a best version of themselves. And I truly believe that being around people that have accomplished more, that are on a higher level of self-realization than ourselves, challenges us, but also inspires us to grow, to reach out for more in ourselves. In our pursuit to have a better environment, we also, even if we move into new environments, there is a need for us to challenge ourselves to grow in the new environments. And we can ask ourselves questions like, how does this new environment shape my character? How does this environment bring out the best in me? Or which areas in my character is this new environment challenging? Which opportunities are there for me in this new environment? Because the chances are we will always have an opportunity to be in new environments, in new circles. New environments does not necessarily mean changing countries. I truly believe it can also be changing the circles of friends. And we already, how we can benefit from those circles is really asking the questions of how does this circle bring out the best in me? Finally, as I come to an end, it is also that change and growth only happens when we focus on the moment. I'm always moved by this decision as a Christian you make a decision to follow Jesus. I'm a Christian myself. And how that one single moment impacts eternity. Like, can you imagine a few seconds, microseconds, impacting eternity? And it's like every single moment we live, every microsecond impacts our eternity. Every minute impacts our growth. Every second, there's an opportunity for us to focus, to slow down, in fact, and focus on that moment and get the most out of it. From my observation, we really have busy schedules. We are busy people. There's so much to pursue, to run, to accomplish, to finish, to sign, to deliver. And there's a tendency for us to not slow down and take in and live the moment, live in that moment and experience it. The moments I've done that, I've been so inspired. I've been so encouraged. I've been so rejuvenated. And as we pursue growth and change, when was the last time we slowed down to assess our self-awareness, what we love about ourselves, what we love about our environments, and equally what we don't like about the environment and what we can improve in ourselves? When was the last time we slowed down? When was the last time we had the chance to take a minute to not think about who to deliver products to or who to sign a contract with or what, but he had a moment to say, what am I most proud of in my life? And what can I become more proud of? I don't know, those kinds of questions. John is saying that the changes we want to make in our lives come only in the present and not either in the future or what. It's now that we have to make the changes. The final idea that can help us with our change of environment is to move forward despite of criticism. And there's a quote that is here that I love. To reach your potential, you must do not only what others believe you cannot do, but what even you believe you cannot do. I like that. If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. Bob Proctor, one of the great leaders and in personal development, I remember he shares a principle that that without personal growth, without consistent growth, we are today all we will ever be. Can you imagine if you didn't have any chance ever in your life to change anything on your life? If things stayed the same, if everything in your life stayed the same, would you be happy for the rest of your life? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be comfortable. I know that I can be more, I can accomplish more. And that is why if we don't try to create the future we want, we must endure the future we get. This is the reason why there's a demand and a need for us to change our environments, both physically, but also attitude, mentally. And when we do that, whatever course we decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you're wrong. How do we operate amidst under criticism? I don't know about you. Even if you're doing even Mahatma Gandhi, even all the prominent people that have made a difference in the world, they have criticism. People criticize them. And the challenge we have today is how, as we pursue growth, as we pursue change in environment, how can we do that amidst criticism? What can we hold on to amidst the criticism? In what ways can we continue to thrive, even when people tell us it is impossible? And then sometimes we also don't believe that we can pull it off. But this is a principle that I've found in this book that I want to share with us, and we can end. That when you take charge of your life, there's no longer need to ask permission of other people or society at large. When you ask permission, you give someone veto power over your life. That we should take charge of our lives. We should take charge of our growth. We should take charge of our environments. And regardless of the criticism, continue to move in the direction that causes us to be more aware of who we are and who God has called us to be. So, coming up on the call, I would want us to share which choices have we made that have truly changed our lives in terms of positively in growth. How has a change in environment impacted you personally? In 2015, when I got an opportunity to study a course from UK, one of the things that surprised me, of course, as a young man, in Uganda, you don't need to apply a lot of lotion and all that. You're good. The environment is so conducive that you don't even need to apply lots of lotion. You're good. You can go out and you're good. When I went to the UK, the first week, I was so blown away because it took me a week to realize that without applying lotion on your skin, you can lose your skin. You can have the worst skin in the world. Somehow the environment beat me up, and it was only 1 week later that I realized it was only because I was not applying lotion. And it's one of the decisions that I realized changing of environment requires us to adjust to the new ways of living in those environments. So how has a change of environment impacted us positively or negatively? And which environments are we currently in that we need to change? Thank you for giving me an opportunity to discuss this law. I look forward to hearing the comments. I love you guys, and we will definitely meet again soon. Take care.